firstfamradio.com.
Yeah. Welcome, y'all. You know what I mean? Like I told y'all, as promised, you know what I mean? I got the legend in the building. I got to call him a legend, man. You know what I mean? Because I grew up off of this music, man, and I grew up listening to the tunes, you know what I mean, of this brother right here, man. And it's an honor to have him on the show, man. You know what I mean? We're going to talk to him about what he's doing now, and if he could take us down memory lane. I'm talking about none other than Danny Boy himself. Welcome to First Fan Radio, First Fan West Radio. I'm sorry about that, dear brother.
Man, how you feeling?
Man, I'm feeling blessed, man. I'm blessed, man.
First off, I appreciate y'all having me on, man, and let's get down to it. I'm ready.
Oh yeah, man. First off, man, I just want to ask you, what's Danny Boy been up to in the 2015?
2015, man. I'm constantly working on an album and looking for an outlet to be able to get that right opportunity to put out my music. The reality show is the way where I guess you get an opportunity for the world to see you weekly. So if I can land one of these deals on Empire or the reality show, anything like that, that's what I'm kind of working on, so that the world can see see what I bring to the table as far as music is concerned. But I also got on the road. How I eat is I'm out on the road with Casey and JoJo and Elder Bars doing backgrounds and being featured in their show. So, you know, it's just an amazing feeling to be able to have friends like that, you know, that's still give me the opportunity to stay busy.
That's what's up, man. Now, how has it been on the road, you know, with Casey and JoJo?
Man, you know, it's incredible, man. Just, you know, first off, like you say, I grew up to those guys. I grew up listening to Jodeci and being with groups that we mimic them, and to be on the road with them, watching them do their shows and watching them with their peers, and, you know, my peers such as Keith Sweat and Drew Hill and Next, and to see all those artists that, you know, you wouldn't know that's still out there working, man. It's just an amazing feeling to be around those guys. Those guys still being able to hit 2,500 to 15,000, 20,000 people venues. So just to be able to share the stage with them, man, it's amazing.
That's what's up, man. Now, I found a little bit out that I never knew on one of y'all records back in the day that I didn't know Genuine actually wrote records with you during the time when you was over there at Death Row.
Yeah, he wrote some records, and he sung backgrounds on the song "Slip and Slide" that Devonte Swing and dude named Reginald produced for me. So yeah, for sure he did.
Oh yeah, man. Now, have y'all always known each other, or that just was something that was just during that stint?
I met him when he was going through it over there. He was at the basement. You know, nobody really kind of knew him as Genuine. He was there working with Devonte, and Suge had sent me down to Rochester to work and do some records. And Genuine and Missy and Timberland and all of those, you know, all of them, they were really trying to get on. And, you know, I had met them a little bit before you know, Genuine was introduced to the world.
Word, man. Now, just for the listeners out there that don't know how you got started with Death Row, can you give us an insight on how you met Suge?
Man, I was with an independent company out of Chicago, Raw Dope, Shorty Capone. They brought to the group Crucial Conflict, and they were out in L.A. to do some meetings for Crucial, and I was out there to do a deal with either Warner Brothers, it was Warner Brothers, Scotty Brothers, and like another label that we had deal on the table with. And Suge, Shorty was meeting with Suge and Interscope, and Suge seen me sit down, and he told me to bust something. And I guess he assumed that, you know, I rap. And I began singing for him, man. He immediately jumped up out of the chair. He looked at me. He's like, "How old are you, little nigga?" You know, and my boy was like, "Man, he's 15, about to be 16." And he was like, "Hold up." He went in the other room, and he just got this little short, you know, Jewish-looking guy came in the room and shit. And it was Jimmy Iovine. He said, "Sing that song for him, you the song for me." And he looked over at Shorty. He was like, "Man," he's like, "I want him. What you want for him? I want him right now. What's happening? I got what you want for him." And he actually offered him a check right then and there that he couldn't refuse. And, you know, within that time, you know, I started hanging around him more. And within about 5 or 6 months, I was signed to Death Row.
Oh man, do you remember your first record that you cut with Death Row?
Oh, for sure I do. My first record I cut with Death Row was was with a guy by the name of Barney Rebel. And Barney was a producer over there. He had did some hits over on Above the Rim soundtrack, and he cut a record on me. But the record that I really enjoy the most cutting, I can't say enjoy the most because I enjoy Barney as well, but DJ Quick, he adopted me real quick, man. Like, I was over there and we did Come When I Call. That was like one of the first songs that they played. They were just trying to wrap up the Murder Was the Case soundtrack. Okay. They were trying to wrap it up. And Quick came up with that song, man, and we went into a meeting. We went into a meeting since Suge's song. Next thing you know, it was being released on that soundtrack.
Wow, man, that was a heavy soundtrack too. A couple soundtracks you guys did.
Oh yeah, man. Them dudes was doing records, man, and I was a church boy coming from the west side of Chicago, not really liking rap. I would call home and tell people that I'm down there with Snoop Dogg and Dr. Dre, like the Dr. Dre. They like, what? I'm like, yeah, like they like, you be hanging with them? Like, nah, I don't what am I hanging with them niggas for? I really didn't like rap, you know what I mean? And then you realize the situation that I was in.
No doubt, you know what I mean? And I know it happened pretty fast, would you say?
Oh yeah. Oh, for sure, man. It was amazing, man.
Oh. So, the other question I want to ask you, man, now I ain't mad at you. I always wanted to know how that was crafted, man. Like, could you just take me in the studio one time?
Man, it's kind of hard to go to that specific song, I guess, because Pac would do the same thing. We had a studio out in the Valley of L.A., in Oxnard. The studio Suge was leasing. We working in there, and there was an A room and a B room. And I was probably one of the only artists that can get studio time when I wanted to. I sat in the studio. To eat hot wings. I would be in there 30 hours and just sitting in there, girls stripping on tables and just be doing music all day with musicians coming in and out. And other artists such as Snoop and all those artists would come in the back room. And every time Pac came in the building, I could be in there recording on the mic, and Pac would walk in the booth while I'm on the mic. Hey, niggas, come here for a minute. Look, I bet you gonna slam this. I'm like, nigga, I'm recording. Come slam this. And he'll probably go walk up to my mic on my phone and say something real stupid, and like his, joke. And come on, nigga, just lay this right quick. And I come back in the back room and we'll just start listening. He'll play it, he'll listen. And as far as I Ain't Mad at You is concerned, I listened to it and I just went in the booth, man, and I just started singing it. And it really wasn't something, I'm going to tell you, I didn't like it. And I know Pac didn't like the song because it was supposed to be a single. Pac never seen that video.
Nah.
He never seen that video, man. And he really wasn't really into the song. He kind of scratched the video, didn't really want to mess with it. And he wanted to put out Toss It Up for the Machiavelli album. That's the one that he was really in.
Oh, man, that's crazy right there, man. Now, because the way the song, like, to this day when we hear it, man, it's just like, it really means something. It really touches a lot of people, man. Like,
hey, man,
what's the effect you get when you hear it?
I can't describe to you, again, I don't take for granted at all being a part of such a great song. And sometimes you have to let other people show you how great things are. Like, you know what I mean? I took it for granted not knowing that song would grow to be so big. Or, it's a blessing if you get an opportunity just for a hook for people to still remember you and what you've done. And that song about 20 years old. You know what I mean? Yeah. And more, I am elated to know that people still, like, listen to it or still come on the radio. And my biggest joy out of the whole song, man, was my first time out on the road with K and Joe, doing backgrounds in El DeBarge. And El DeBarge, I'm sitting there and I'm waiting for our sound check. And El DeBarge he walked in, and I sat by him and I introduced myself. He's a real nice, polite guy. And he was like, yeah, I know who you are, man. He's like, thank you. I said, thank you? I was like, no, thank you, man. He's like, no, man, thank you, man. That song made us a lot of money. He said it made us a lot of money, man, and thank you. But the biggest part was when I got on the stage and he played that, and I was able to sing it with him. To me, that was the closest. I couldn't get to Pac, but I was able to still get to the root of where that song come from, man. So it still brings me joy, man, and I'm excited that people still listen to it, man, and I just wish they'll pay me out my money for it now. That's all.
Now let's talk about that, man. Now when you left Death Row, what was your situation like at that time? Was it good blood, bad blood? How was Suge treated?
I left, and Suge adopted me. So I left as his son. I always tried to keep up the respect, even when I felt a certain way about him. I probably said it to my inner circle, but I never really said anything bad about him, even when I felt bad. Even when I felt, even in my hungry times or homeless times, there were times I was sleeping on people's floors and my video was on TV. Or, people that was once respecting me at one time because I was paying their bills no longer respecting me. So I grew a lot of hate through my young adult years, for sure.
Yeah.
A lot of hate. I loved him for looking out for me. I really loved him like a father, like a big brother, but I'm really hurt how you played me. You know what I mean? But things that kept me living from it, man, I started finding myself in all type of situations where, at one point I was a waiter. I'm serving tables, and people would click on their glass and say, "Hey, man, bring me some water. Should have got you fucked up. You serving water."
Yeah.
But it built a man in me that I learned that in order for me to be where I really want to be, I got to be willing to wait on somebody else in order to be served.
Definitely.
I went from being a waiter to I started singing at my boy's funeral home and singing at funerals for different people, man, to embalming bodies. Embalming bodies, laying people in caskets. I'm riding up, pulling up in hearses, and people see me next to me like, wait, Danny boy? I'm in a hearse. I let the window down, and I say, Death Row, and pull off. So it was times that I had to make a situation that other people, and sometimes I can say to myself that I felt was bad. I learned how to use it for the good, man, and keep moving. Other than that, honestly, leaving that situation, I would have lost my mind by now from the things that I went through, from the way that I lived before I went through these things. I would have lost it.
Definitely, and you hear about that from a lot of artists, man. It's a lot of artists that had success, man, on a high level. Later on, they end up going through something.
Man, listen, it's crazy. Go ahead, my bad.
What's one of the experiences, that with Suge that you can remember where, they actually looked out for you. When, you was already gone, like long gone. Has it ever been a scenario where they just reached out and called you out the blue?
No, he reached out and called, but he ain't never gave me nothing.
Wow.
Not even what they owe me.
Wow.
Nice conversations. The most money I've ever made off of the All Eyes on Me album, I wrote everything I sang on. I sang on everything that was on the record. The most I've ever made at one point, I'm talking about at once, was about $7,500, and that was last December. I wrote "Ain't Mad at You." If I want that song, I got to pay 99 cents to get it myself.
Wow.
I never seen a dime.
You have to pay to get it.
Oh, for sure, and I never seen a dime from them. I go to barbershops and see niggas with plaques on the wall talking about they, to the commerce of such and such and such. I never seen these niggas in my life. I never had a plaque in my life that said my name on it.
And they never said plaque of the record?
No, man, come on. No. Of no record I ever been on. I don't even want the money now. I'd appreciate a plaque.
Yeah.
I'd appreciate recognition from them.
And like because when you look at a lot of the material that was released over the years, man, they have you in pictures with Tupac and with Suge.
Yeah, I know.
I just want to go back to the Source Awards in 1995 when you graced the stage with Suge Knight. Like that was a lot of publicity. You had a lot of publicity at that age, man.
Oh, for sure. He was putting me on, man. I was in meetings with him. I was adopted by him. He treated me like his son.
So during the time of the 1995 Source Awards, when you guys crossed the stage, did you know all that was going to erupt that night?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I kind of heard of it because I was always around and knew, I knew things that was going on because I hung under Suge. I was right under his wing, so I kind of had an idea. For me, it was, I was 17 years old. 18 years old, so I'm looking at it like I was 17. I'm looking at it like, I'm with them. It didn't matter what we were there to do. I was signed to Death Row, and if we was there to take the seats out of the stadium at that time, I was there to help Suge take the seats out.
Definitely. And that's
how Death Row ran.
Yeah, that's crazy, man. And you was the only you was the bad boy R&B then. You know what I mean? With that label.
And had to be.
It had to be.
Had to be. It wasn't. You
know. Now it seemed to me that you and Tupac had a real crisp relationship, man. Like, you know, what was
from the time when he got him. From the time we got him from jail. From the time we got him from jail, man, he Suge, you know, we riding in the limo. And Suge telling him about me and telling him about the oldies. I know Danny Boy, I heard him on the soundtrack, and I heard you, bro. And you know oldies, you don't know no oldies. So we sit in the car, man, and this would be something that Suge, myself, and Pac would do. Well, Suge would give us money if you know what oldie. If he started off, if you could finish the next verse, you know, here's $100. Bet you don't know this song. Here's $2,000, and we would do that. And me, Pac, and Suge would ride, and that's all we would do is sing oldies. From the moment I met him, and he'll look at me, and he'd be like, "Hey, sing this song, DB." But one song he always liked me singing, man, was Sam Cooke, "A Change Gonna Come." And that's the last song I sung to him. I sung that to him when he was laying in the hospital. And as I sang, his mother asked me to sing. As I sang it, tears was rolling from his eyes to his ears.
Wow.
Yeah, for sure.
Now I know you've been through a lot over there, man. Now, is it anybody that you still have a relationship with from those days?
I just seen Snoop after all those years, maybe last year, and it was more like I shook his hand, told him I love him, you know, and it was never a, you know, the whole Death Row thing. It was Suge's side and it was, let's say, Snoop's side. So the blue side and the red side. It just so happened that I was with Suge and I was up under him. That, you know, I hung with him and more his people than with Snoop. So when the whole downfall happened, none of those guys gravitated to me or connected with me. I was more like, you know, I was more like Blackballed, so to say.
Yeah. Now, at what point did you notice you was blackballed, man? Like, what? Like, was it when you started reaching out? You know what I mean? After you left, or you already knew, kind of, sort of, that all this was?
No, everybody I went to, you know, once I got smart and started realizing that royalties was old, and you know, when Suge loyalty ran out for me, I was trying to do something with my career. Even when I made myself get off of the label or fought to get off the label, I would go to record companies and they still wouldn't sign me. It ain't a record company that I didn't go in and didn't have a meeting with, and they was like, what Mr. Knight gonna think? I'm off of Death Row is all I could tell them, but nobody never gave me that opportunity because I had dealt with him, and you know, everybody else kind of, you know, Snoop, the dog, everybody had a deal with other people. I was more like, don't mess with Danny Boy.
Yeah, what would you still say the reason would be because of that, man? Because like you said, you was like his little nephew.
Yeah, well, you know, again, I was adopted by him, so they felt like I was his son. And people didn't want to deal with me. Like, you know, and I was making it clear that I wasn't with them. It was just that, you know, they were either scared, it was either punks in those record labels that was running the label, that anybody could scare. You know, anybody can scare him. How the fuck can Suge scare you when he in jail?
Yeah.
Like, you know, and there's still labels these days that still won't deal with me. People these days still kind of leery, won't deal with me because of Suge. Are you kidding? This nigga, I just read from him about him damn near going blind. Like, like what?
Now, let me ask you that now. Like, when you see these articles about him now, man, do you think he's getting the karma that he put out there?
Well, you know, I did an interview recently, man, and Suge has been great to me, man. He's been great to a lot of families. After him getting out of jail, he was a different person.
Yeah. And
when he came out a different person, it affected a lot of people. And I can tell you that most of the people that I knew, 20, 30, I would say 50, 60% of those people were spiritual people.
Yeah.
I don't know about nobody else. I'm anointed. Like this gift that I have, I carry it because my mother gave it to me. And with him messing with that mantle. You can't mess with people's gifts. Because it's easy for Suge to die. It's easy for 6 bullets to kill you, bro. Me and you get shot by 4 bullets, we dead. Yep. Here's a man that gets shot 6 times and live and walk away with it. Here's a man get shot with pop in the head, whether it's graves, whatever the story want to be. He get away with it. Here's a man that get knocked out at 50 years old, diabetic. Get away with it. Here's a man that just ran over somebody that was possibly in a situation to get killed when he was incompetent. But he get away with it. It's not that he got 9 lives. It's really simple. It's not he got 9 lives. It would be easy for him to die. That's the easiest thing to happen. You bury him, and then everything that he's done to people is in the grave. It don't work like that. That's not how. Some people call it karma. I like to call it, if I can go a little more spiritual with it, you reap what you sow. Yeah. And it's really funny how you put it out, what you put out in the universe, it don't come back the way you do it. You find yourself in weird situations, running people over to something that you didn't even mean to do. How do you get in a situation like that? You get in a situation like that because you do people like Danny Boy like you did him. Yeah. It's simple. It's like, I pray for him. I pray for the Lord to, listen, I pray for him daily. Yeah. I pray for him to live and not die. I also pray that when he don't have nothing, that I'm able to go to him to give him something. Definitely. I'm going to feed him one day. Me, Danny Boy, is going to feed Suge Knight one day. That don't mean a burger. He's going to be in a tight situation, and the man that I am, I'm going to go back and pay him for what he's done for me, the good things. Yeah. So that I don't have to go through what he's going through, man. It ain't over. It's not over this life. He's not going to die because he's getting sick. He might be sick, blind, broken down before he leaves it. Everybody gone. Everybody might be gone in his life before he leaves here because he got to see the stuff that he destroyed. He got to see it. Definitely.
I know when you was over in can you hear me?
Yeah, I'm here.
Yeah, no, I was saying I remember when you was at Death Row that you did a lot of work with Casey and not Casey, but Devonte. What's your relationship with Devonte? Like, are y'all constantly in production, or you know what I mean? I know you said you was traveling with him, but what's the studio work like?
I just been out with Casey and Joe. I talked to Devonte about a couple of weeks ago, about a month ago. And, talking to Devonte, if you know him, is always like talking to him like y'all been talking all week. He just got that inviting spirit, man. Yeah. Like he's a musical genius, and whenever we get together, I mean, you have no choice but to go to Devonte House, and you know that you're going to sleep there for about 4-5 days. He ain't letting you go nowhere. Y'all going to just be working and smoking. It's just all you going to do. So I haven't had an opportunity to work with him in a couple of years, but with this Jodeci thing coming up, I'm sure there's going to be some stuff coming from him.
No doubt, man. Now, let me ask you your ties with Death Row. I know it had new owners just a few years ago. Are you still affiliated or under contract with them?
I'm not under contract. I've been off a contract with Death Row for since I was about 18. Okay. I was released from, it was a minor's contract that I signed to. And 18 is when I put in the file, and when I was about 20, 21 is when it was granted that I was released. But I still got records that I own over there as far as writing rights that I tried to deal with those idiots that bought the label, and the idiot John Payne was running it. I tried to deal with them on releasing some of my old material and kind of partner with them. They wasn't spending any money. They had already had the material. And I just don't think I don't think that they've given what they have any justice because they're not even trying to do right by the people that could help them do it. They got a lot of Snoop records. If they do right by Snoop, it's amazing of probably what they would be able to come with. Those people hold a real Death Row tour in their hand. They hold that. You know what I mean? I think they could pull it together if they were to do right by, the artists that were there. But, they didn't do me right. I didn't make a dime from it. Not sure if it sold anything. I wasn't dependent on it to sell anything because they didn't put nothing into it. They're a piece of shit just like Suge's a piece of shit when it comes to doing business.
Yeah, let me ask you this. Now, your relationship with Dr. Dre, was it a relationship with you or you ever worked with Dre?
I worked with Dre twice, man. And it was unfortunately like going around that time it was Suge and Dre were kind of like in the middle, and so I wasn't really able to be around them a lot or wasn't around them. But I look for that day, man, to get with the real doctor to put together some real music. I look to being able to work with them and Snoop and all those guys. I look forward to working with all them dudes, man, doing some music. I think it would be incredible. I think the world would love it, and I think it'll be good.
Man, is there anything you can give independent artists out there, man, that's trying to break into the game themselves? You know what I mean? R&B artists, rappers. What's something you can give to them that they may not know pursuing this dream?
Learn your craft, not just the mic, not just the lyrics, not just the pen, being able to put it in your little apparatus, your little iPhone or whatever it is, but learn your craft. And I'm saying that, you know, such as I'll give you an example, a painter. If a painter is going to paint on canvas or whatever material he's going to paint on, he's going to have several different brushes, at least several, if not 100 brushes. Each brush, I'm sure he studied the stroke of each brush, whether it's going to give a thin line, whether it's going to give a thick line. That's studying who he is in order to bring something to the light. And that's the same thing when it comes to artists, man. We as artists, we got to learn with these associations, these ASCAPs and BMI, what they do for us. Don't get caught in the jam like I got caught in the jam. I've been on over 40 million records. And, you know, I can't say I even have a plaque to prove for it or, you know, I get some royalties now. I get royalties. It's not nothing like what I should have gotten, but it's because I didn't study my craft. I wasn't on top of my business. Nobody is your friend when it comes to doing this business. I'm not saying you can't make friends or you don't have associates, but when it comes to doing business on that paper, it's about paper and business. Nothing to do with friends and family or, you know, I'm Baby and you Lil Wayne or no. The hell with all of that. We can be that after we take care of business. You can be my daddy like when you cut my check first. Like, you understand? Like, we could be big brothers, and I don't want no jewelry. Like, stop falling in love with what you see. A lot of niggas want to fall in love with the fame of being on TV and wearing jewelry and wearing the tightest shoes that's in. That shit go out of style. I had all of that. I was doing all of that. All of that shit that Lil Wayne, everybody doing, I was doing all of that at 16. And it means nothing as a grown man now because I don't have it. I don't have it. You have to be a great steward over what you get in your hand, man. Like, you get that opportunity to get on those records, and it don't last forever. Like, invest your money. Do something outside of music. Really.
Word up. I remember a couple interviews. This still going on between you and this guy, but I'm gonna bring up Ray J. You in a couple interviews, you know what I mean, you said some things about Ray J. I don't know if you guys still have a little tension, or have you seen him since?
Well, I haven't seen Ray J, and you know, through my years, you know, I can honestly say me and Ray J were friends. You know what I mean? Me, Ray J, we he's younger than I am, but we grew up together in Hollywood. That's who I hung with when I was younger. And there was times when he was in compromised situations, I helped him. We know we ain't talking about money, but I'm one of the ones that let him drive. You know, when he didn't have a car because he was too young. That was my friend. I love him like a little brother and still do. But you know, I come from a for real. You know, in Chicago, up east, up north. You know where we come from. If we mess with you, we mess with you. If we don't, we don't. I'm down with you. I'm down with you if your car got 4 wheels on it. I'm down with you if it got 3 wheels and a spare. It don't matter. And I just feel like when things happen bad, I never ask Ray J for a dime. I got all kinds of rich niggas that I know. I don't ask them for nothing, even in my hungry times. But if I'm your friend when the wine is good and the drinks is good and we got all the good weed and I'm calling all of the hoes up, we should be friends when I can't get those things. And I just think that he let me down as a friend. Like, as a friend, he let me down. And I forgive him now, especially since he's getting his ass whooped by his girlfriends. You know, there's no way that I could want to get involved in, you know, I don't want to fight him. I'm glad she whooped his ass. He's getting paid back for the way he did some of his other friends. I'm just one of the friends that got a mic to tell on him, you know, be able to say some things about him. I'm one of those friends that have said he got a lot of friends that's around him, been his friends for years, that he don't do shit for. Nothing. Yeah. What are we doing this music thing for if you can't help your homies? I'm not saying put them on and, you know, pay their rent and pay their mortgage, but, nigga, if I hang with you for 10 years, and, you know, in 10 years you got $10 million, and in 10 years I'm still talking about, damn, I'm looking for a job, there's something wrong with that picture.
Yeah. Definitely, man. Now, you know what? And I'm glad you are speaking on that because I had Freeway Rick Ross was on the show, and he, you know, he may take pictures with a lot of celebrities and rappers and different things, but he said at the end of the day, those phone numbers don't get picked up. You know, when you reach out, sometimes, you know what I mean. And a lot of times,
oh yeah, man,
you know,
niggas block your number, man.
Yeah, you know what I mean.
They use celebrity number,
and that's crazy, man. Like. And when people see, like, I'm pretty sure, like, you gave me a scenario when, you know, after you left Death Row, you know what I mean, you know, people still swarming you, and you back in Chicago. You know what I mean? Like, you know, just speak on your, you know, your time, you know what I mean? Like, you know, when you came back to Chicago, man, like, because we all about the underground here, man. We completely real here on the radio, man. And our motto is we are the industry. That's every independent artist worldwide that's not signed to these corporations. So speak on it, brother. Speak on it, man. Just let's talk about when you went back to Chicago. Did you continue music?
I continued music, man. I started doing gospel plays.
Okay.
I did that a lot, and as I said, man, I had an opportunity to do songs with Twista, Do or Die, some of Chicago's greatest, man. And, Chicago just wasn't for me. First, it was too cold.
Yeah.
And I found myself back in L.A., man. After a couple of years, I went back to L.A. I did a lot of international stuff as far as, plays and shows are concerned as well.
Yeah. Now, do you also do the tours and stuff, man, when they do, like, the on tour, like overseas, and they might perform a couple records Tupac had, you know what I mean? Or do you collaborate?
I can't wait, man. I've been trying to connect with all those people when they do those things. I haven't been invited to any of those things, but I'm waiting.
Yeah, I feel you on that right there, bro.
Yep.
Right now, you're independent, or you're signed to another label, or what's your situation?
I'm signed to a label out of LA called EDM Global Music, and we're working on a project. Right now, they're working on this reality show. Right now, to do with sort of like give you an idea of not Atlanta Housewives, but Love and Hip Hop, but the R&B version of the R&B version for men. The gentleman of R&B things like that. So I've been working on that, and just signing with anybody, man. You just got to deal with them and deal with their timing.
Yeah.
I just it's nothing, I guess, until you can get to that major point, man. Get on that major string, I guess.
Yeah. Well, let me ask you this now. Since that era that you was rocking in, man, would you say it's different? What's going on now? Has it changed?
Oh man, it's changed drastically. It's changed drastically. I mean, none of the black singers is singing no more.
Yeah.
Most of them, they got nice voices. I like them. I like Chris Brown, but the nigga rap more than he sing.